This afternoon, I'm presenting to you on Sausage Tree Camp and Potato Bush Camp in the Lower Zambezi in Zambia. And this area, I have to say, I should be unbiased, but this is one of my favorite parts of Africa. Zambia, often as a destination, gets overlooked by other destinations that have bigger brands. So, for example, South Africa, Kenya, Tanzania, Botswana. But actually, in terms of a safari experience, it is absolutely incredible. And this area in particular, I think, is just, for me, epitomizes what safari is all about. And having the water, having the vast tract of the Zambezi River in front of you when you're at the lodge just gives a very different, very calming dimension to a stay at any property in Lower Zambezi. So this is a map of Zambia and showing you where the Lower Zambezi National Park is. It's about 4,000 kilometers square, so it's quite a small national park, but it's opposite Mana Pools in Zimbabwe, and it also has a mountain range to one side of the park. So you have the river in front and the mountain range behind. So it forms this kind of natural corridor of land that the animals kind of migrate along but can't kind of get out of either side. So it's almost a kind of natural enclosure for the animals, which means the game experience in this area is particularly rich. And it is, as I say, having this huge tract of water in front of you just adds a very calming, very different dimension. Lower Zambezi is actually connected really easily, particularly now that Sausage Tree Camp have their own plane. So if you have guests staying 4 nights or more, they get their free return flights included in their stay. And that is from, as you can see this from the slide, from all different points within Zambia. So you can fly from Livingstone, Kafue, Mfuri, South Luangwa, Lusaka. So they have a schedule that runs every day and they go to these different spots. So it means that now the Lower Zambezi can be really, really easily connected in part of a wider Zambia itinerary. One of the biggest challenges for Zambia is the internal flights. They can be very expensive. So this way, by having their flights included in a 4-night stay, it makes it much more affordable and easy for you guys to actually manage, because Kim in our reservations does all the management for you in terms of booking the flights. So this has really transformed our kind of our bookings over the last year or so, and the fact that actually often people before didn't know why I should be including Lower Zambezi or couldn't work out the flight network, but actually now it's just super easy to connect to those main other points within Zambia, which is really exciting. Within the Lower Zambezi National Park itself, this is where we're located. So the nearest airstrip to the camp is Jeki airstrip. The nearest camp is probably Chiawa camp. But we're in one of the most beautiful parts of the national park, and as this map shows, we're right opposite Mana Pools. So you're looking out onto the other side of the river and to another beautiful national park, and often animals can migrate across the river. So you have a lot of animals in front of you in the river and these little islands. This is a classic view you'll see as you drop down into the Lower Zambezi Valley. It's absolutely stunning. So it's one of the widest parts of the Zambezi River, and because it's so wide, it's quite shallow. So you have these kind of sandbanks that appear and these islands that appear, and there's always game on these islands. And particularly where Sausage Tree Camp is located, it's located in this bend in the river. So you have this beautiful view of the mountains, but you also have these big islands in front of you. And one of our activities we do is actually DNA, do nothing at all, where you just sit in your room and you see the animals come down to the river and feed on the grass on the islands in front of the camp. So this is actually the location of the camp, so totally hidden in the bushes here. So you have, if you can see my cursor, you have Sausage Tree Camp right here, and then right next door is Potato Bush Camp. And it's very cleverly designed because it's such a dense wooded area. Guests have no idea there's another camp next door. But in terms of logistics and running the camps, it's brilliant because both camps are right next door to each other, so they can share resources. But actually guests do not realize that they're quite so close to another camp. It's only when they go out onto the river they can actually look back and see the different camps. So Sausage Tree Camp is owned by Jason Mott and his family. This is now quite an old photo of the family. Jason first came to this area 25 years ago and actually helped build the original Sausage Tree, and then bought the camp over and has been running it for many years. And during lockdown, they as a family moved down to the Lower Zambezi and lived at Sausage Tree Camp, which for me would just be my ultimate dream. The kids were homeschooling right by the river. So it's a pretty heavenly spot to be locked down and doing homeschooling. So this is just to show you the rates. So as I say, we now, for every 4-night stay, you have your flights included. So we're really finding the length of stay of our guests increasing. And the Lower Zambezi is somewhere where you absolutely can spend at least 4 nights there. I think because it's so calming, because it's so beautiful, you obviously have this intense game experience, but you also have a very, very relaxing experience. So I remember when I first started working with Sausage Tree Camp, one of the agents in the UK said that she just goes out there on her own holiday. She said she'll just go for like 7 days, 6 or 7 days, and just totally unwind, totally relax. And when I was there last, we were there for 4 nights, and it was brilliant because what happens when you're there for a period of time is you almost kind of relax into the soap opera of the bush. So when we were there, we'd seen a leopard that had just made a kill. Then we went back in the afternoon, we saw the kill up in the tree and the hyena around. So it's just like every time you go out on a game drive, you almost step into the next episode of the soap opera, the bush soap opera drama, which is a lovely thing to do when you're somewhere for a longer period of time. So to get there, you fly into Jeki airstrip. It's about a 20-minute flight from Lusaka. So it's a very easy flight down from the capital city. And then you drop down into the Zambezi Valley and have this beautiful view as you're flying down. You then land on Jeki airstrip and you're met by our vehicle, which drives for about less than 5 minutes and takes you down to the boat. And then you actually arrive by boat, which was just the most heavenly way to arrive by boat. I've just got a question saying which currency. The currency is in US dollars. I will send you all the rates and everything afterwards, but yes, it's in US dollars. So you actually arrive to the camp by boat, which is just the most heavenly way to arrive. And in terms of activities in this area, obviously you're on safari. So the main activity is game drives. The game here is intense, particularly huge herds of elephants, lots and lots of elephants, lots of leopards. As I had mentioned, because you've got the river on one side and the mountains on the other, it's a natural kind of barrier for both sides of the park. So it means the intensity of the game is very high within the park, which is relatively small. And so it's just, phenomenal game. Lots of predators. We don't have so many of the plains games. So many of obviously giraffe. We do have some giraffe, but like zebra, cheetah. I know they are trying to reintroduce cheetah because there used to be cheetah in the park. So it's more leopards, lions, lots of elephants, buffalo. So lots of kind of, amazing amount of elephants, which is incredible to see. And these are the beautiful big thorny bush trees that are very kind of common from the Lower Zambezi National Park. Lots of leopards, as I said. When we were there, I think I saw 3 or 4 leopards during our stay, which was just incredible. And you also then can do walking safaris. So this is a brilliant place for walking safaris, which obviously gets you out of the vehicle, really immersed in nature, just a totally different dimension and experience to have whilst on safari. This was us, myself, my colleagues, last year, a couple of years ago when we went there first. We spent hours by this anthill learning termite mound, learning all about the termites and how they live, which has just blew our minds. And then you also do boat safaris. So you have the river there. So you have a whole different offering of activities. You can take a more leisurely boat safari like this. You can do fishing, which also looked very leisurely in the bottom photo as well. And it's my kind of fishing. It's where you go out with a fishing rod, a cool box of G&Ts, you fish, but also you have the beautiful surroundings and the game all around you. So you're fishing and also doing a boat game drive as well. The canoeing safaris are really popular. This is for aged 14 and over. And what they do is they take you down the Chifungulu Channel. So you just go down a channel just near to the property. And it's quite nice because you start off and you can see it's quite shallow underneath. So you're reassured there's nothing lurking underneath. And then by the time you relax into it and it's deeper, you realize those guides do that channel every single day. They know exactly where the game is. They know exactly where the pod of hippo is. So they know exactly how to control it. And it's the most peaceful way of experiencing a safari. And you can get quite close to the game. So it is an absolutely incredible experience. And those guides are just so experienced in terms of managing the situation. And then also you have fishing. This is Jason doing some fishing. The bird life in this area is phenomenal, particularly during the green season. We used to actually, Sausage Tree used to close at the end of this month, so beginning of November, end of October. But actually during COVID, they remained open for residents, tourists, and actually we had a lot of bookings. So it's a really, really good time of year to go, particularly this time now when it's starting to get rainier and it's still very warm. But the bird life is phenomenal. These are carmine bee eaters, which are just stunning, nesting in the banks of the river. And this is a little kingfisher who's right on this is our little desk, our little table where we have our breakfast. So now in terms of accommodation, so as I say, there's two camps, Sausage Tree Camp and Potato Bush Camp, and I'll show you the differences between them. Sausage Tree Camp was the first one. For those of you who may remember, originally it was about 9 years ago, they totally changed the rooms. They used to be circular ones with a kind of awning on top. And Jason, about 8 or 9 years ago, totally rebuilt them. This is the main dining area. So this area here, actually, this photo here shows you what a beautiful location it is on the river with the mountains in the background, and just how this grassy island in front normally has loads of game on it. So this is the main dining area, which is just beautiful. And as I say, we have the little barrier along the edge we have normally set up for breakfast, so you can sit there actually overlooking the river when you have your breakfast. And they have a 25-meter lap pool for those guests who actually do want to do some exercise while they're on safari and burn off all that food they're eating. And then we have a few experiences we include as a surprise, and this is one of them, the water lunch. So guests actually have their table all set up in the river. This looks like it's actually very deep at this point, but it is normally just around your ankles, and it's a really fun experience to have your lunch in the middle of the Zambezi River with the water around your ankles. And then we also do a bush dinner as a surprise as well. So guests will be on the way back from a game drive, and it's dark, and they'll see all the lanterns lit up, and that's when we take them and have a bush dinner. The food is brilliant. Our current GM is actually an executive chef as well, so he's really focused a lot on the food this season, and it's exceptional. And in terms of the accommodation, so for Sausage Tree Camp, there are 7 luxury suites, and then we also have Kigelia House, which is our 2-bedroom family unit as well. So of the tents, there's 5 doubles and 2 twins, and they can be converted into doubles. So it works really well for families or for couples. This is actually a photo I took with my phone of my room with the elephants outside my room. And this is the image that is, for me, is synonymous with DNA, do nothing at all. You literally just want to sit on that chair, drink that bottle of Jack Daniels, and look at the game in front of you, and relax in your plunge pool as well. So the rooms are really big and spacious, quite contemporary in style, all have their own plunge pool, beautiful big bathroom, outside shower, just absolutely stunning, somewhere that you'd really quite imagine, just relaxing and just totally unwinding. This is Kigelia House, which is the 2-bedroom family unit, which again has a larger plunge pool, double room and a twin room as well. So these are the rates in US dollar rates. So they are including the flight prices as well. And also, what I must say, actually, after 4 nights, the incremental night price drops down substantially. So actually, it's not that much more to stay for, say, 6 nights compared to 4 nights. Potato Bush Camp is more of a, as I say, it's right next door. It's more of a sort of kind of rustic bush camp. It's incredibly beautiful there, and it's really, really popular. I think particularly for families that take it over exclusively. It's got this lovely feel to it. This is the main communal area. All the rooms are connected by raised walkways, so actually it's very, very good for families. We tend to have families much more in Potato Bush Camp than we do in Sausage Tree Camp, because it's much easier to connect amongst the rooms, but also it does keep a bit of the game away when you have those raised wooden walkways. So there's 3, it's smaller, there's only 3 safari tents, 2 double and 1 twin, and then the family tent as well. And all of them again have their plunge pools, really big and spacious. You have in terms of the offering, they obviously have the same safari experience, food, guiding as you do at Sausage Tree Camp. It's just the rooms themselves are slightly more simple. So it's a really good for guests who don't have the budget to go Sausage Tree Camp. It's definitely not a kind of an inferior offering. It's just a very different feel. It's much smaller and more of a bush camp, and more kind of a bit more rustic. So in terms of what other things you can do beyond the safari, they work very, very closely with Conservation Lower Zambezi, which is just down the river from Sausage Tree Camp. So they actively encourage guests to go and see that, because it's really fascinating to go and see what they do and the work they do, and how the impact that Sausage Tree Camp and the other camps in Lower Zambezi have on CLZ. And in terms of the variety of activities they do is just phenomenal, from anti-poaching to schooling. It's just a really, really interesting, very positive experience to go and spend a morning with those guys there, or just a couple of hours with them. So as I say, all the properties in the Lower Zambezi support CLZ, and Sausage Tree Camp also do every year they do this the elephant charge, which is a big fundraiser which Sausage Tree take a team in, and it raises a huge amount of money. So why Sausage Tree Camp and why Lower Zambezi? I think for me, it's just that unique combination of land and water-based safari experience, which is really quite unique. It's incredibly relaxing as well. It's incredibly comfortable. Ultimately, you can have people who are first timers to Africa who want somewhere very luxurious. They'd feel very, very comfortable here. It's an amazing prime location within the parks. It's only a 30-minute flight from Lusaka. They have their own plane, which offers real flexibility and reliability. Heritage hands-on, it's the only private owner run and managed property in the Lower Zambezi now, so it's 25 years old. Actually, one very important thing I didn't mention is every guest will get their own private guide and vehicle, which is a real USP, and that's included in the price of the stay. They also get their free flights for every 4-night stay as well. And they also have a complimentary massage, which is a surprise again, and is lovely for any guest staying in Sausage Tree Camp. And they also have their first fishing permit included. But the other thing I want to say is I messaged Jason just before I went online, and he was saying that how incredible the game viewing has been this year, particularly wild dogs. They've had a lot of wild dogs in this area. So it's been off the scale in terms of game viewing. So for me, Zambia is often thought of as a second or third time safari destination, but actually this area is just phenomenal in terms of a safari experience. If you can encourage guests who are new to Africa as well to come here and to connect so well with Livingstone, do Victoria Falls and then South Luangwa and do more walking safaris, it's just the ultimate itinerary. So that is the end of the presentation. But what I will do is I'll send you a follow-up email, and I've got a promotional film I can send you, and also different itineraries which include Sausage Tree Camp in them to give you an idea of how they fit into a wider itinerary. I'll also send through the rates and fact sheets and also a recording of the webinar. But thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I'll just check have we got any questions? I don't think so. So hopefully that means that I've answered all those questions. But if you do, then just ping me an email, and I would very happy to answer any questions you may have. And we'll see you at our next webinar, which is in, I think it's a couple of weeks' time. So hopefully see you all then. But Michelle, can I book this through you? Kim runs our reservations, so I will send you on Kim's details. I think it's just reservations@sausagetreecamp.com. And she's brilliant, and she can book all the flights as well. But thanks so much for joining me this afternoon, and hope to see you in another one of our webinars very soon.